Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 15 of the Glory Days podcast. We are here, and you know what? I've got to say, it's probably for the first time this A-League season that I'm on this podcast and not absolutely regretting every single life choice that I've made up until this point. A good result over the weekend. I know the bar is low, but holy crap.
Take those mini wins.
We take it.
For as much as it wasn't a win, and we're still... 16 games without a win?
Get the We Are Back department on the phone, ladies and gentlemen, because Perth Glory, Prime Glory is back. We are here to take over. Anyways, we'll get onto that match a bit later, but first of all, we missed out on doing it last week, I'm pretty sure, the old fan quiz and everything like that.
Working.
You sure?
You don't think your mic's working?
I don't think I'm watching it's not showing up anything.
Okay, brother, I hate to admit this to you, right? Yeah. But you see this little setting here? That's 3, that's 4, that's you there, number 2. So that's staying in the video.
Sorry, we've got an intellectually challenged member.
It's okay. It's been a long day at work.
It's been a long day at work for everyone.
I want to go home.
Before we crack into how things go, we did ask for the viewers to give their thoughts. We had non-league dad who said, great header, great equaliser. Mark Jacko, 33, much better defensive shape as a team. Well done. Stick together and it will all turn around soon. Soccer Snob, can Taggart really carry the Glory this season on his own? Well, he did it last season.
I mean,
you know, he's pretty
to a bottom of the table.
Pretty good at doing.
Can't get worse, can it?
No,
it can. Ewan Gray, 16. Fullbacks look good, defensively solid, and made some big blocks and some strong tackles. Wish our centre backs could learn a lesson from that. Jay at Uncultured. We're fortunate that Adelaide were wasteful with most of their 26. Oh, Jesus, that was that much.
Yeah, it was.
26 attempts on goal. Goals are a positive, and if Zrilic has found his starting lineup, hopefully the consistency means we can start getting results. Yep. Fancy 4 points from Newcastle and Brisbane.
Ooh.
That's something we can talk about a bit later. Peter Allen, Bar losing basic 50-50s in the first few minutes of the game and then losing his man for the second goal. Yeah, we will talk about that. That's the negative. Plenty of positives, but still look like we need to score 3 or 4 to have a chance of winning.
Absolutely.
All Things Glory, who does some pretty good content on TikTok.
He's funny.
He's pretty funny.
He's very funny.
Very funny man.
Ostler has played pretty well the last 2 games. Surprised he's managing to show his talent given the state of the team. At BK Phantom, Taggart is a god. He needs a statue.
This is true.
I agree.
Yeah, 100%.
Chuck a statue with him and Castro outside HBF.
All I'm going to say is, if you... We'll launch the podcast here with a nice little funny little question here. If you had to pick 3 Glory players, right, past or present, to put a statue outside of HBF Park, who are you picking and why?
Bobby.
Yeah, it has to be. Bobby has to be there.
Bobby Despotowski.
Yep.
Jamie Harnwell and
Jamie Harnwell.
Diego Castro.
That's fair. I think I'd probably go.
There's I don't know why, but Jacob Burns.
I was going to say the only 2
Burnsy's
people that are possibly up there as well for me are Burnsy and Tags.
Yeah, Jacob was an amazing.
Andy Keogh for me is a shout as well.
He is a shout.
Andy Keogh for me is a shout.
We love Andy.
And just finally, Wicked Raven. I think the players and managers should stop asking and telling fans to come back to the seats and start earning the right to ask the fans that. Play horrific anti-football. I'm not sure about that. And expect the fans to pay and watch their state representative get humiliated is stupid. As for the game, Taggart and Pennington were good. Our defence is still laughable, but I'll take a point.
Fair.
That's fair.
I mean, first thing I guess we can go over is considering that this is probably the first positive performance we've had since the Australia Cup.
Yeah.
Let's maybe let's kick it off with some positives here. I just want to say, Nicholas Pennington's actually really starting to,
been saying this, by the way.
Starting to click.
He was
I'm
my
really
favorite
enjoying the
signing.
song.
I knew he'd be good. He's near
song.
time. He's so good.
Yeah, well, he's someone that look, I didn't watch too many of Wellington games in a lot of detail last season, but he was someone that upon learning more about him, I was like, well, and I think I mentioned that when we signed him, that he could probably be that guy that takes over from Mustiamini in the sense of occupying a similar position and being that player that can get the ball, drive and show a bit of creativity. And he showed exactly that for the first goal. I mean, the way in which we constructed the play for the first goal, I don't think we've really had any type of play like that in the sense of not just Pennington playing that chip ball over, but I'll even credit Hamzawi because the move doesn't work unless you've got Hamzawi making that run beyond the back four.
Hamzawi looked a lot better.
Yeah, I still want a bit more from him on the ball though.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, the one point where he really probably established himself was, and you boys might agree, it was when I think it was Falami, skip past Kanga,
Yes,
skip past Bar, and then Hamzawi, like he's been slung out of a cannon, comes out of nowhere
right
and
over.
boom,
Yeah.
slide tackles him. That's exactly the type of aggression and attitude that we as fans want to see from our players every week. And I think if you do that, especially you're going to need to do that against Melbourne Victory, given the quality that they have. But I think it was a really good tackle, and it set a really good tone in the sense of we're going to show a lot more desperation than what we have done previously. So no, I thought he was really good.
I mean, yeah, look, another one that I want to shout out personally, and this is one that I remember sort of around preseason when we were doing our sort of players that we'd keep, players that we'd sell sort of discussions and stuff like that, even if they weren't on the podcast. I can't remember if they were or not. But Trent Osler, he was a player that most of us were saying probably look to offload, maybe keep as a
squaddy
squad player.
Yeah.
Jesus, he's really starting to,
You
kick
can
up a
see
bit of
he
a storm.
cares.
You can
See
definitely
he has passion and he cares.
This is the kind of WA talent that I want to see being promoted. This is
100%.
why, I'm happy that he's doing so well, because this is a player that I don't really think has ever gotten much of a chance to sort of establish himself as a starter. And you look
post Zadkovic's caretaker season, he's starting more games at least now.
Yeah, exactly. But even under Zadkovic, you can't get in over Ryan Williams or those sort of types.
No.
And, even last season as well, I know that we didn't exactly have, the best squad, but Kolikovsky's on great form. You can't really play over him.
Nah.
So I'm really happy to see he's doing well. I want to see Doggy Carluccio get into the squad more, though. And that's the one thing, is that I love Trent Osler. I think he's doing great.
Yeah.
I want to see Doggy Carluccio, because I really think that he deserves to get back into that spot.
Well, I just think we need, from the wingers in general, more productivity. I mean, our wingers over the years have shown glimpses of potential and glimpses of what they could do. But I think the problem has been, especially in relation to goals and chances created, it can't just be up to Taggart by himself like it normally is every single season.
Yeah.
So if our wingers can find ways to get more involved in the game and look to be a threat every time they have the ball, because again, I'll use Melbourne Victory as an example, given we're playing them on the weekend. But every time Arzani gets the ball, Piscopo, Velupile, whenever those three players in particular get the ball, you shit your pants.
Yeah.
I don't think we've really had wingers since probably Castro and Economides that have given that sort of fear factor when they're on the ball. But I think obviously we're praising Osler, but I think
I fear for my life when Bruce Kamau got on the ball.
But in a sense of a positive, I also want to give a shout out to Quiet and Go.
Yes,
because I think he's slowly developing into a player that's having a bit more fear factor when he's on the ball, because he's like one of those Duracell bunnies that has just got so much energy that you just can't touch him.
Yeah.
His agility is next level, and I liked seeing in the first half where he could see Taggart making a run, he had good vision, and he tried to play that Trivella pass in behind to Taggart. Now, yes, he got the technique wrong, but the fact that he's wanting to try those sorts of passes, the fact that he's wanting to receive the ball in different positions under pressure is really positive. And I think both Ngo and Osler, being WA boys and coming through our academy, if we're not going to get the results, at least we're seeing young guys get a go. And I think as of this game and the West United game, they probably justified their selection in the team.
Yeah, 100%. I think if we go through every single A-League game we've had, I'm not going to include Australia Cup, because obviously there were a lot of positives in there which turned out to be nothing really, but this was probably the best we've looked all season. Again, this is against one of the worst defenses in the league. Like Adelaide is, it's just appalling how bad they are at defending sometimes. Yeah. But I'd much rather say that, hey, at least we got a draw against someone who's very bad at defending than say, I can't believe we didn't beat the team who can't defend, right? It did feel a lot like you were saying, wishing we got a bit more from the wingers. It did feel like Taggart was like, right, I'm going to have to do this on my own. Yeah. Granted, he actually did have quite a few, I think he had one or two other good chances, which for him, he could have put away. But again, you can't ask too much of him. But just reiterating that point on Pennington, for me, he's probably second best on the field behind Taggart. He has that calming presence in midfield, which you need in such as when you have such a, at times, very clumsy and, unpredictable defense. You need someone in the midfield that you can just give the ball to and you can trust that he will do something with it. Pennington is just very calming on the ball. Like every time he gets it, I'm like, okay, we can maybe build something here. But yeah, for me, I also thought I know he came off for tactical reasons. I thought Caicedo looked pretty good too for the short time he was on.
I thought he was all right, yeah.
He's pacing behind. His attempts to take on defenders. It's a shame he got subbed off.
I was going to say, I think we probably do have to address that as well.
Yeah. I was trying to leave it till the negative, but
we'll address it now since we mentioned his name.
yeah.
But bit of a weird. I can't say I don't. I can't say that I don't understand why Zrilic did it.
Yeah.
In terms of wanting to bring Carluccio on at that stage in the game.
Yeah.
But fuck, man, I feel for Christian. I feel for Caicedo.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, you got to understand whether the coach brings you on or takes you off for whatever reason. You've just got to accept it and react in a better way. And I can
100%.
I can understand the argument from fans and saying, "What the fuck is Zrilic doing?" But as he quite clearly explained in the press conference, it was tactical. We had to find a way to nullify Adelaide's attacks. And the point about, okay, Caicedo's really good in the sense of making those movements in behind, but then in transition coming back, he's a bit slow. He's a bit slow, and I'd much rather that not only we bring on someone like Jared Carluccio to deal with those runs, but also just to waste time. And because I know we're sort of going off topic a little bit, but Brazil against the Matildas were fantastic at using the dark arts and being shithouses.
Yeah,
I can't lie. I didn't even know that
Well,
games were on, bro. They weren't even.
but Brazil-
they weren't even on FootMob, bro.
Well,
I found out about. They weren't even on
Yeah.
FootMob. I
Oh,
found out about
really?
the game because 70 minutes into the second game, the second friendly that they were played, I saw a tweet of a Brazilian player diving on the ground, and I was just like, "Oh, what's this from?"
just to say on that as well. I mean, against Melbourne Victory, hint, driller, hint. The players, we know that people at the club watch this. Take a leaf out of Brazil's book. Go to Amy Park and frustrate the shit out of
dive everywhere.
Go down for injuries. David, have a chat with the fourth official. Get Brett Lambert and all the other boys talking to the fourth
Tags if
official.
you feel anything in that box.
Yeah.
Anything.
Go down for a somersault. But just back on Caicedo, look, again, he's a young guy. I don't think his grasp of English would be particularly fantastic.
No.
So what I would hope is that whether it be Andres or whether it be Lewis Kanga, one of the senior boys, would go over to Christian at some point during the week and said, okay, mate, obviously not ideal that you were taken off at that time, but at the same time, you've got to... You can be frustrated, but walking down the tunnel and then sort of flinging your arm up, going fuck off almost. That for me, at such a critical moment, when there's been a lot of talk about players' body language, that's something for me.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that 100%. At that moment.
Look, here's the thing: is that I understand why Zrilic did it, and I'm not knocking him for it, but I think Caicedo's reaction there is also justified because you bring him on at like the 65th minute, you give him 20 minutes, and then you take him off as a tactical sub. It's got to feel shitty. As someone who it took him so long to actually,
Get fit.
It took him 3 games to even get into the squad, and then after that, he's only started 1 game. Obviously, it's going to feel frustrating. So I don't want to knock Caicedo for that because overall, I think the reaction's justified. I just hope that this isn't sort of gonna turn out to be something that it doesn't need to be.
Yeah, it's definitely a double-sided coin because both sides of the argument are very valid.
They're fair.
They're both completely fair. But I think, as you were saying before, we're talking about body language and stuff, and I brought up how I personally feel like a lot of our visa players or players that aren't from WA aren't actually in it for the team. They're in it just to play football.
Yeah.
And that kind of reaction, when it's actually the smartest thing to do, is to bring on someone who's better at defending and has more stamina and runs up, is better, better defensively, 100%, to close out a 2-2 draw, which will be massive for the club who's been struggling. That kind of reaction to me is not telling me that's exactly what his mindset is.
Yeah.
But to see that is, again, pushing that narrative of like, well, do you care about what's best for the club or what's best for you?
Well, it's easy for us to say in hindsight, but it wouldn't have it been better if when Christian was coming off, he was hyping up
100%, yeah,
coming on saying, come on, we've got to do this. This could be a really important result for us. We're under pressure.
But
it's, again, I know it's easy to say in hindsight.
It's so easy to
He's well within his right to go, what
at the end of the day, we're not pro footballers.
No, we're not.
We have no idea what these guys, as much as we like to think we know what goes on, we know pretty much fuck all.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not going to hang shit on Caicedo. If he starts next game, I want him to bag a hat trick. You know what I mean?
In short, both sides make sense. Yeah. And Caicedo, I think you look really good when you did play. So I'm actually excited to see what you can do for the rest of the season.
So we'll touch on the lineup. So I don't think we've had a lineup this season where we've seen minimal change, so to speak. I think the only change was Ioma out
It was Ioma
and Bulgaria coming in. And what did we think of the lineup going into the game?
I actually really liked it. I said this on Twitter. I said this is pretty close to ideal.
For what we have.
For what we
Yeah,
for what we had.
And what's
I think
available.
that was pretty close to ideal.
Yeah.
I think
The only swap I would have made, possibly, would have been Caicedo over Osler or Carlucci over Osler to start.
okay.
But you got to reward Trent for the fact that he scored.
Yeah, 100%.
Against
You
Western.
cannot
You can't bench
take
him
someone
after
off.
that.
Yeah, 100%.
Look, another question I have is with Brandon O'Neill. Like, look, we've been saying that Gomulka's been sort of off form the start of the season now.
Yeah.
Pennington's really starting to, kick on.
Assert himself.
Gomulka, I thought, had an okay game.
Yeah. He was there. Yeah, he
What do you do with Brandon O'Neill? Because I understand as a club, from what Zrilic is saying in his press conferences, we really want to focus on youth and build sort of the foundation for the next, 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah.
Do you stick by Taras Gomulka even though sort of his form has dipped a bit since the A-League season started, or do you rely more on Brandon O'Neill? Because from what I'm seeing from Zrilic, he's leaning more towards Taras Gomulka, and I don't hate it. Don't get me wrong.
Neither.
I do not hate it at all because I feel him and O'Neill, either one of them works okay with Pennington. I still think Pennington's our best midfielder, hands down, but I'd be interested to see what Zrilic does.
When we did the poll of if you were Stan Lazaridis, which position would you invest in? And we'll talk about that a bit more later on in the podcast. But I forwarded it to a good mate of mine, Peter Petrov, and I said, mate, what do you reckon? And he said, of the options, well, probably not any of them. I actually would go, and he said, I'd go for a defensive midfielder who can win lots of second balls and defend large spaces in transition.
Fair.
And for me, that's probably a position that we really need, because if you're thinking about it, with a high press system like we have, who's constantly there showing a considerable level of intensity and winning his duels and being physical and being aggressive and just dominating the midfield? I don't think we really have that. And maybe Gomulka could be that player, but I'm not sure.
I don't know what Will's looking at me for. I don't know if you're trying to make me laugh. You keep looking at me like I don't know what you're doing. Look,
could he be that player? Could Taras be that player?
Oh, shit. I don't think Taras is a... Look, when I watch Taras play, I don't think he's a pure six. And I think we do need a bit of a pure six.
Yeah.
Look, if we had a three-man midfield, right, we gave someone a bit more license to sort of...
do we bin off the 4-2-3-1?
I don't think we do. Not just yet.
Okay.
But I'm saying if we had sort of a more compact central midfield, I think Taras works really well as an 8.
Yeah.
I don't think he works well as a pure 6. That's why I don't think he's worked as well we would have liked him to in the midfield with Pennington.
Yep.
It just looks to me like he had a lot more freedom in preseason.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's not coping as well with the extra defensive responsibility.
Yeah.
No.
That's just what I see.
No, it's
obviously,
fair.
I could be completely wrong, and I rate Taras really highly.
Yeah.
As a young player, when we got him, I was really happy.
Same.
I know Jacob was super pissed, and it was so fun. You were pissed,
mental,
Jake.
bro.
The swap deal, Taras Gomulka for Adam Zimmerman.
Yeah.
But like, look, I can agree that CDM is a problem that needs to be addressed. Obviously, Taras isn't a pure 6 from
Can
what
Brandon
we can see.
play that role?
Yes.
I think he can, but he hasn't been.
But should we bring it? But should he be brought in for the game against Victory if we are to make a change for the team?
Yes.
Just for that
I think
extra
so.
defensive presence.
I want stability more than anything right now with this club. I understand youth needs to be developed, right?
Yeah.
But right now, at the current state we're in, we already have
best team for
yeah,
Victory.
best team only for Victory.
Yeah.
And I think if you were to say to me who's better between O'Neill and Gomulka, I don't think there's much of a debate.
I think it's who's better. I think it's just more who would be better for the role.
Yeah, O'Neill,
As in,
100%.
if you're comparing the two, who's a better player, I think that's the wrong question. It's who can play that, because Pennington's locked in that number 8 role because he's been a beast since he's come into the team.
Yeah.
But the question has been who can play that more defensive side. And look, Brandon doesn't have to be sprinting around like a headless chicken.
No, of course not.
He's someone that can use his positioning, I would believe, to get in there and be aggressive and go studs up on some of their players.
Look, let's not forget that both O'Neill and Risdon, we've signed sort of in and around their physical prime as well. They're both on long-term deals.
A bit past.
Risdon's a bit past.
yeah.
Risdon's a bit past.
You'd probably say for both.
O'Neill
I'd say for both.
is, what is he, 29?
No, he's in
Is he
early
30?
30s, mate.
He's not mid-30s, bro.
He
is
is.
early 30s.
Yeah, he is.
He's quite. He's not.
He's not on the young side, mate.
Hold
Yeah.
on.
Oh, yeah.
I still think that they're physically capable. Is what I'm
course.
trying to say.
Yeah, of course they.
And we've got him for the next few years. I need to see more from O'Neill though, because what I saw in the
that's fair.
first few games, he just looked sort of
Go
like
through
he
the
was-
motions
yeah,
almost.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like he was going through the motions.
that's fair.
And I want to see the best friend link up of O'Neill and Risdon on that right side. I want to
see the best friend link up Lockie Wales and
No.
Josh Risdon.
That's a shout.
Because Rizzo and Brandon are like super close, aren't they? Like outside of football.
They're all close. I mean, I would not be surprised if Taggart, O'Neill, and Risdon being the three main WA boys who would have been.
They've got a secret friendship handshake or something.
They must do.
No, but I mean like serious, as in like I think when they used to travel when Rizzo wasn't at Perth and neither was Brandon, like Rizzo's Instagram like every weekend.
Yeah,
would be,
I think
like,
they were close.
O'Neill's kids would come
Yeah.
over and stuff like they literally.
That's good,
are
though.
best friends, which is fantastic.
Yeah, because it helps
I
with
love
building
that.
the culture
Yeah.
and shit.
But in answer to your question, I do think O'Neill has to start. Unless, like, obviously, again, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, of course.
If Brandon's not training well and Gamolka's absolutely putting everything away in training and ticking all the boxes, then yeah, start Gamolka, of course. But just in terms of experience needed to do the job, I think O'Neill probably has the better position right now over Gamolka.
What did we think about the first half, by the way? Because, I mean, I thought when we kicked off, I was like, shit, we're moving the ball fairly quickly. We're looking somewhat competent. And it's like, oh, my God, we've made it all the way to their box. And while the delivery from Kwa was a little bit, how you going? the intent to attack and with speed was good to see. But then following on from that, aside from the odd transition moment, I did not like how dominated we were by Adelaide in the sense of possession, in the sense of them creating so many chances and getting in behind our players.
This is my thoughts on that first half.
Okay, great.
It's going to be something along.
Wondering what you were doing on your phone.
a child.
It's going to be something along those. Look,
Such a child.
nah, in all seriousness, I did like how we looked sort of more on the front foot, trying to hit on the break more.
Yeah.
I think Kwa has been providing us a lot better. And look, we've had talks about Abdul Faisal and what we think the problem is there, but Kwa looks a lot more confident, and I really like that. Look, I also want to know what's going on with Anasmo. I think
That's a good question.
it would be
He's
a
not
very
been in the squad.
Look, here's the thing.
He
right?
was good at the end of the last season.
Here's the thing: is that you can disagree with me if you want. If I had to rank the three currently on Kwa's current form, or Kwa from what we've seen in the A League, Faisal from what we've seen in the A League, and Anasmo from what we've seen in the A League, Anasmo's the best out of the three for me. He scored on debut against a good Sydney FC side. Sat Marcelo on his ass at HBF Park.
Yeah, but I prefer Kwa more. I think Kwa's got more in the sense of, let's say we wanted to play him in that inside forward role. He's one of those players that can receive the ball in any situation. And I'd like to hope, if we're going to continue with Joel and especially with Abdul, that those players can receive the ball in those situations and then bang, accelerate. I did not know Kwa had that extra acceleration.
So do you reckon?
That was crazy.
Do you reckon Kwa could honestly be? Do you reckon it could be a possible option down the line where Kwa looks to become sort of, I guess, a 10, and we have Abdul and Asmo out on that left-hand side?
I think what's better for Kwa is that he's much better in that left-hand side, or you have him rotate off each wing, because for me, he's got such a good skill set, and he's only going to get better because he's only 18, right?
Yeah, only 18.
And the speed and the agility that he's got would be a nightmare for defenders to defend against, especially in transition. So, I think he's someone that, assuming his form continues, we keep putting in the team. But on that same point, let's say Abdul or Joel, well, it's only motivation to keep working hard and try to.
All of them, I think, have individual skill sets that would make life for any defender a sack of shit.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about all of them. That's why I'm so excited that we have in my opinion, three of the best young wingers in the country right now.
I would say Anasmo, maybe we hold judgment on that until we see him get the minutes that Kwa's getting.
Yeah, that's
because
fair.
last season Anasmo would come on past the 65th, 70th minute, and he was doing all this against a back four
That was tired.
That's tired and near the
that's
end
fair.
of the game. So, and Kwa's been doing this starting. Like, he's been managing to push past.
That's
his
another thing,
defenders
though, is
starting.
that I remember Kwa in his appearances that he had last season. He looked okay, but he looked like a lot. He looks much more effective starting than he does off the bench.
I agree.
Yeah.
I almost feel like Kwa, in the sense, takes a while to sort of get into the game.
He gets in the
so
rhythm
when you
more when he
when you
starts.
when you bring him off the bench,
Yeah.
it takes him a bit too long for my liking to actually sort of get into it.
Yep.
And Nazmo, as soon as you bring him on, he's a gun.
Instant impact.
Straight away.
Impact's
But
up.
Kwa, when you start him, he looks so comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, even against Western, he looked really confident. Just every sort of moment in that game where he was picking up the ball, you just had a feeling that he was going to try and do some shit.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel we've been missing from Abdul a bit.
Yeah.
But
Like, look,
Abdul's he's a young guy that's never played A-League before.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I know Abdul has a crazy skill set because I've seen it myself.
Yeah,
firsthand.
he will get there. He will get there.
I need to see from him the confidence that Kwa shows.
But it will take time.
It will obviously take time. But I'm saying that once Abdul sort of gets into that flow state, I'm excited to see what's sort of going to go down between that battle between the two as to who gets that start. Look, ideally for me, you have a fit Anasmo, you have a fit Ngo, you have a fit Faisal, and you find some way to get two of them into the starting lineup and one of them off the bench.
That's fair.
That for me, I'd say the front three that I want to see if we don't pick up someone in January. By the end of the season, I would love to see tags up top with Ngo off the right, Faisal off the left, or Anasmo in there somewhere as well. I would love to see that. But that also is assuming that one, Ngo and Faisal keep good enough form to be able to start at the end of the season, and two, Anasmo comes back. We don't know whether that's injury or whether he's looking for a move away or anything like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of moves away, I think we should just address it quick. During the midweek, was announced that Jacob Muir would be departing the club by mutual consent to pursue an opportunity overseas. Now, I'm frustrated with this by a couple of reasons.
Go on.
I don't really get the whole prospect from the club of, okay, let's develop WA talents.
Yep.
And then mutually consenting Jacob.
Yep.
Like, look, I was one of the people that said Jacob Muir probably it'd be in his best interest to look for a move away from the club.
Yeah.
But if it is true that he's going for an overseas opportunity, I don't understand why we haven't. I don't know if there wasn't an attempt to get a transfer fee or if there was an attempt to make an exchange of some sort. But it just seems like bad business to me. Because Jacob is a player with well over 30 A-League games played.
Yeah.
At his age, which is 21?
Something like that.
21? Look, those aren't bad numbers. Not at all. Especially for a centre-back. Those are pretty good numbers. And he's got a very good skill set. He's decent on ball. He can ping a good long pass. We've seen that from countless times when he was starting at Macedonia Park.
The MacArthur game where he set it up for Williams was probably the best example last season.
Absolutely. So he's a centre-back with a very unique skill set, has stepped into midfield on numerous occasions for the club, which I thought was very impressive at the time. Yeah. So, look, while I think that he probably was, maybe our fifth best centre-back, or fourth or fifth best centre back, or probably wasn't going to get anywhere near the technical level.
It's at odds with their public rhetoric of we want to become a pathway for WA players. Yeah.
And if he was to go, I would understand it, but I think I'd understand the reasoning more if we had a transfer fee for him.
Yeah.
If that notice came out and said we have agreed for the departure of Jacob Muir for an undisclosed transfer fee rather than by mutual consent, I would be. That's fine. I understand.
The Instagram post implied that he was forced out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which for me is disappointing because you'd want to see, especially a WA young player.
Yeah. For those that don't know, Jacob Muir put out his own Instagram post saying that he wanted to stay at the Glory, but for the sake of his football career, he's had to move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you said, it does seem a bit like he was sort of told, pack your bags.
We'll talk about it more.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, Alex. Are you saying that we heard one thing from our director and owner, and they did the other thing? They did the opposite of what they said they were going to do, or they just didn't do it at all. Wait, what?
I'm not going to go after.
This has never happened in the history of Perth Glory Football Club.
I'm not going to go after Ross this episode because for as much as we bashed him, he was there.
We need to address that by the way. Because
but he was there at the Adelaide game. Yeah. Whether that was because of the hate he was receiving from fans on social media,
because of us.
I'd like to hope it wasn't because of us. I hope it's because he wants to see us play live. Yeah. But we appreciate that, and like we said on the tweet when we quote tweeted it, it's good that you're there.
Yes,
but in an ideal world, we would like to spend time with you to really understand your plans for the club. So we can mention. We'll talk about the squad situation a little bit after. Let's get back into the game.
See you Sunday, Ross, at Amy Park.
Yeah, well, hopefully he's there. But I just think
So Ross, what brings you to Adelaide today? Oh, these 4 dickheads on YouTube called me a slimy businessman.
these boys on YouTube. So what was actually a surprise for me in the first half was that we were able to somewhat, for as much as I said that we were dominated, we were somewhat able to cope with Adelaide's attacking play, which I thought was much better on our part because, you know, previous Glory sides this year, or this season rather, would have crumbled. And I really thought that was going to be the case after half time, where once you got because we were watching it on Paramount on the TV, and then I got the 2 notifications on fucking SofaScore, and I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we
I was
go.
at work watching.
Here we go
I was
again.
so angry. I was like, after half time, I was like, yes,
We're
have
winning.
a chance.
Bro, I was at work, like cleaning up after my shift, bro.
Yeah.
And then I turn around, I put some shit away, I turn back, and Bart Freens has scored a goal from a set piece. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I was literally just going to the bathroom, and in the TV of my room, I heard crowd cheering, and I was like,
No.
1-1. I'm like, okay, I got to sit back down afterwards, and then literally 30 seconds later, I sit down to 2. I'm like,
Oh my, bro, I was in Subway eating a sandwich, and I saw we went 1-0 up. I was like, no way. Huh?
No, you're eating a sandwich at Subway.
Yeah.
What?
It was a foot-long sub on Italian herb bread, teriyaki chicken with spinach, lettuce, cucumber,
Okay, we don't-
carrot, olive.
Fair enough. All right.
All right.
But you were watching it in Subway,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Anyways, I see us go 1-0 up. I'm like, holy shit.
How have we done that?
I then
Yeah.
drive home. 5 minutes into the second half, I see
Yeah.
we're 2-1 down. I'm like, nah, fuck this. I
What's
can't-
the point?
This club, I can't do it.
I just think on the 2 goals that we conceded, I mean, it just shows that if small details from a defensive perspective, we still need to get better at.
Set pieces, man.
Well, set
Holy
piece.
shit.
The first goal, I think it was we just weren't paying enough attention to the runners, and then Adelaide moved the ball to, was it Falami or was it Clough who scored?
Clough.
Clough scored, and he just had an open shot, and I think
No, wait, was it?
yeah, it was Clough
Oh, it
for the
was
first.
Clough,
Clough
right.
for the first one.
Yeah.
The second one was a little bit more frustrating because it was like we've conceded from so many set pieces, and for as much as we have praised Kunga, it was stupid that he bulldozed him over the lad over when he was literally going nowhere.
Yeah.
And then for Lockie Barr to lose Bart Freen so easily for that second goal, I mean, that sort of thing. You if you're a defender, come on, you got to put a block there, be a bit more aggressive. And not allow it to happen.
It's really concerning how poor we've looked from set pieces. Not only defending, but attacking as well. Attacking, we've offered nothing. Defending, we've been awful.
Yeah.
And I will say as well, because I mentioned it last week, how there was an instance in the Western United game. Sorry, not in the Western United game, but in which game am I talking about?
Is it a home one?
Oh, the Melbourne City game.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
where Lachlan Barr didn't get dribbled past, but got dribbled through.
Dribbled through.
Yeah.
Got dribbled through. We conceded.
Yeah.
3 minutes into the game, exact same.
Oh, was that the one for the
exact same thing.
Hamzawi tackle? Yeah.
Yeah. it
Exact
was,
same
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Dribbled through,
Yeah.
not past, through. Knocked it through his legs. He tries to clear it 3 times.
Yeah.
Can't move his legs.
Yeah.
Well, this is what we mean about having a centre back with a sense of a presence, because it's like we mentioned Dino on the podcast last time, but it's like if that ball was coming near Dino, there's no chance Falami gets past.
No.
And it's like we want to see that the aggression that Hamzawi showed for that challenge after. From a defensive perspective, that's the level of intensity that we have to be showing more, because too many teams would be looking at Glory whenever we pop up on the calendar and they'll go, oh, fuck, I'll get to fill my boots and
Look,
score a couple goals there.
All I'm going
Can't
to
be
say is
happening.
in the victory game, I need to see Zinedine Machach welcome to the Dino Djurbic penitentiary. All right?
Kanga, that's your job, bro. 2 foot, just 2 foot him, clothesline him or whatever. Just like don't let him dribble past you. Even Arzani,
Yeah.
unless he wants to come to Perth.
Okay, so I haven't read
Wishful thinking.
James's script here, so I'm going off the script.
The script.
With about a month to go until the January transfer window, we've already had Muir announced leaving. There's probably a few other players that are going to be announced leaving soon. What are some early predictions from you lads in terms of who you think will go, and if we bring in anyone, what position? And if you want to give a specific name, who?
Well, I don't think, for me at least, on my behalf, I don't think it's right to say who we think would go or who we think should go, because it's like at the end of the day, we want to see everyone that's at the club perform well. But I think by default, because of the squad and the way in which it is, well, we need to trim it down a little bit because it's too bloated. But I think in terms of a position, though, we did do the poll, and the options were centre back, full back, winger, attacking midfield, or number 10. No votes for winger. 10% of the votes went to fullback, 38% went to centre back,
Yep.
and quite overwhelmingly, 52% went for a pure attacking midfielder, a number
Yep.
10. And I think, would you agree with those numbers?
Yeah, I mean, look, some interesting stats from the Adelaide game that can back this up, right? Is we did score 2 goals.
Yeah.
But as I did some research into how Adelaide had performed and how we did against their defending, we actually created. This is all by football, by the way. So there's other stats that go against this. And
Sorry, I use
yeah.
football.
So every team besides the Glory this season has created at least 1 XG or more.
Yep.
We were the first team this season that didn't. We were close. We got 0.97, but everyone else is at least, I think it was 1.2. Every A-League team so far this season. We also completed, I think Adelaide attempted 3 times more passes. I think they were at 570. We were about 190, I think, attempted.
The bigger one is
Something
looking
like
though at in the opposition half though. That's the
Yes.
that's the better one, because it's like if you look at passes in the opposition half
Yep.
or game, Glory only had 92 passes
Correct.
in Adelaide's half, and it's like I can understand for now in the sense of our game model that it's probably not feasible for us to be a team that dominates possession,
No.
has lots and lots of chances, but we don't have lots of passes in the final third anyway.
But here's my other thing as well, is that I've noticed, and I said this before on the pod when we were talking about sort of Adam Bulgaria, how he had a really quiet game with his first start.
Yeah.
Second game of the season against Wellington, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
We were talking about how he had a quiet start, and I said it's because we genuinely just can't get the ball to our cam. I probably see that as good enough reasoning as to why I can justify not going for a cam and instead focusing on fixing up this defense. Because, look, when you think about it, you got Luis Kanga getting into his late 20s. You got Lachlan Barr getting into his late 20s. Apart from that, it's a bunch of young guys.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't feel confident with Lachlan Barr at times. Kanga, while he's very impressive physically in terms of his speed and his strength, he lacks a bit mentally sometimes, right? Well, no.
But it's like the 2% of like the 98% where it's really good.
Here's the thing: is that I still don't know if instead of Adam Bulgaria there, you replace him with who's a really good cam that you would want to go for.
I actually
A good realistic cam that you think.
Well, here's a funny shout. There's a dude that played with Alex Grant in China.
Yep.
Tianjin, called Ivan Fjolic.
Okay.
I'd like a package deal of them two, please. And Fjolic both.
Hypothetical deal, right? You get in Fjolic, right?
He's a free agent, by the way.
Yep. You get him in. Okay. You pop him at cam.
Yeah.
Instead of Adam Bulgaria.
Right.
But do you think it makes a difference in that game? Do you think having him there alone wins us the game against Adelaide? Because purely for me, I don't think it does.
No.
And not because I'm saying that he's not a better player.
Well, you could, what if you had Kondrava there or Jonathan Vieira?
I love Candrava, all right? Jonathan Vieira is a great player.
Both
Look, if I had to pick any one current available free agent...
Don't say Kondrava.
No, if I had to pick one semi...
agent.
If I had to pick one semi-realistic free agent
Yeah.
right now, it would probably be Kondrava. And I know he's old, but... Hold on.
Yeah.
He still pulls really impressive numbers
He did, yes.
in Serie A. He
got
pulled
like
really
3
impressive
team of
numbers.
the weeks last FIFA, you know?
He was fucked.
Look,
I know.
all I'm going to say is, you put Candrava in there instead of Bulgaria, we still don't win that game. And not because Candrava's not a brilliant player, it's because we simply do not have enough possession of the ball in the opposition half to make having a good cam make a difference.
But who would you trust more to play the final pass?
Okay,
Candrava, 100%.
obviously I trust Candrava more, but here's the thing: you put Diego Castro in this Glory team, and I still think we lose majority of the games that we're losing.
No, I don't, because I think Castro roams more so that we can alleviate the problem of why we can't progress the ball through the
And
thirds.
against Adelaide, whose defence doesn't know how to defend really most of the time, Castro tears it apart.
But the thing is that I just don't think our rotations when we have the ball allow us to keep possession for long periods of time. Because let's say we are defending deep, there's a lot of times where we do win the ball back, and there's about 5 blokes that are standing there going, "What the fuck?"
Look, Castro is undoubtedly the greatest player that's ever graced this football club, and I hope not, but he probably will be the greatest player that ever will. I'm just saying
Daniel
that
Sturridge.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm just saying that in all honesty, I think there are so many more problems that need to be addressed before we can even think about finding a cam that can play that final pass. Because the build-up play from the back is not good enough. We resort to long balls too much when we have no aerial presence to win up top. Okay? We can't build out through the fullbacks because that hasn't been good enough. The midfield, apart from Pennington, whether it's been O'Neill or Gamulka, has been tiresome. They are too slow to play passes. They don't play realistic passes. They do too much sometimes, and then sometimes they're not doing enough.
But we don't have like but this is why another argument could be for Brandon O'Neill's in the sense of he could be that deep-lying playmaker.
That's
to
true.
Ping passes around, because how many players in the current Glory side
But
that are
here's my problem
play
with
those sorts of passes all over the pitch?
Here's my problem with him, is that when we have seen him start, he just hasn't looked like that player for us. And I want him to be that player desperately. I desperately want Brandon O'Neill to just be that experienced, level-headed midfielder that can come in and just change everything for us. Risdon, I thought, looked really good.
He did.
In the two games that he's played so far.
His best game against Adelaide.
Exactly. I'm glad that we're getting out of him what we expected to get out of him. With Brandon O'Neill, I need to see it. Because we expected with Brandon O'Neill, we're going to get a level-headed, experienced midfielder who's going to be able to help carry that midfield and defensive burden. We haven't seen it in the games he started. We haven't seen it in the games he's come off the bench. I want him to start against Victory. More so, if anything, I want to just see him show that level of composure. I want him to see. I want to see composure, and I want to see passing.
Right?
He has.
He did it for Sydney.
He's done it for his entire career.
That's the thing.
That's what I want to see.
And in the Australia Cup, he did too.
Exactly.
I know we're not going to go back there, but he has shown already at the beginning of.
But we played differently in the Australia Cup when we had possession.
Yeah, which is.
I just feel like we had more.
I don't want to go there.
Do you think we need to change the positioning of our wingers when we do have the ball? Do you think they're too wide?
No,
if we had the ball and we found a midfielder, do you think we need to be bringing in a winger inside?
I don't think that's a problem, and the reason is because I think Zrilic. Look, I honestly think that's an example of Zrilic not really accommodating for the fact that the squad right now is not where he wants it to be, and you can see tactically he's not compensating for the fact that we don't really have that sort of superstar roaming cam. He's not compensating for the fact that sort of our defense and midfield is not where it needs to be.
Yeah.
For example, playing with really wide wingers, from what I see with the way he wants to play, he wants to have... Look, this is just what I see. I just see that he doesn't want Risdon overlapping too much. He wants Hamzaoui to get forward more, and that he wants Quiet and Go to hug wide and then come inside to drag the man.
Yeah, but
that's just what I see with the play.
I feel like I kind of get where you're coming from, James, because quite a few times, whether it's so far this season where it's been Quiet or Faisal on those wings, I'm going to make a basketball reference here, but I don't know if any goes. It's like
LeBron James.
It's like watching James Harden do an ISO, like one-on-one against the defender in the corner. He's kind of stuck out wide. He's got to try and beat that defender. And this is not a dig at Kwa or Abdul.
No.
They don't have yet that experience or that footwork to beat their man one-on-one.
I don't think the whole point about it is that Zrilic wants his winger to be able to do that, though. I just think that he wants to play a sort of numerical overload down that side.
No, I know.
We're not developed at
but
happened.
I don't know if you guys remember. Do you remember that video of that guy that was showing how Arsenal play, where Arteta doesn't want his wingers to receive that straight square ball. Instead, he wants his wingers to start wide, but then receive as they're coming inside. Do you think that would help our wingers more get involved? And let's say we did have a really good number 10, or even Bulgaria, where they're receiving inside, and that way the fullback is sort of going, shit, actually, what do I do?
I do want to see that because in my mind, that gives more freedom for guys like Hamzaoui to be able to overlap off of that side. And if we do get Ashraf Lazar, as some people are expecting that we do get, maybe he does have that sort of freedom that we're hoping so, right? But more so than anything, I think it's a case of Zrilic right now is really pushing his system on the players, and it's getting better week on week. I can see that it's getting better, right? But they're not at that level yet, and that's why I feel like Zrilic is sort of caught in two minds as to whether he compensates for it or he doesn't. Against Adelaide, I don't think he compensated as much as he could have. He compensated slightly. No, it was a more defensive setup.
No, we did see a much improved sense of attacking play because we had not created the same level of chances in previous games. Because as another stat, generally on average, after the MacArthur game and prior to this game, I think we were averaging like one shot on target.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in this game, I think we had about 4 or 6.
Hamzaoui looked like he had a lot more freedom as well, and I like that out of him.
But we need to, this is the thing, right? I'd much rather we pushed our fullbacks on and then had our midfielders in roles in rest defence where, okay, Pennington or O'Neill or Gamulka, your primary role is to stop transitions.
But that's what I think. That's what I think we're eventually working towards. I eventually think that Risdon's going to be made to sort of sit back more.
Yeah.
We'll eventually, when we're in attack, play with three at the back, that being Bar, Kanga, Risdon. Two holding midfielders, probably being Pennington as a sort of playmaker, I guess. And then
O'Neill
either
or
Gamulka or
Yeah.
O'Neill. And then the inside winger, as well as the roaming cam in the middle, tags up top. And then Hamzawi overlapping off of that left-hand side with a right winger there who hangs out wide. That's why I'm not surprised that we've seen the two players be used in that role as Carluccio and Osler, because they're right wing backs / deeper midfielders, deeper wide midfielders by trade, right?
Yeah.
That's why I'm not surprised that we haven't really seen Caicedo or Aoyama pick up those roles in particular, because I think their skill set, especially in this system, suits more to being in the midfield.
Do you think that for the right wing role that we should go for Lachie Wales? Because I know it's a little bit unpopular among fans in the sense he's in the sense that people go, oh, he's one of the most wasteful wingers, yada yada yada. Oh yeah, speedboat, no driver. But in the sense of someone that is relatively proven in the A League, occupies a really good. Like, let's say Risdon doesn't push on as high. I reckon Lachie can do a similar role to what Ryan Williams had, where they just hug that right touch line, and then you get a number 10 or something like that, where you can stretch the width and have Hamzawi push on a little bit more, and then have Risdon deeper to stop that transition.
I think he would be a phenomenal addition, but there's areas that I'd want addressed first.
So priority number one signing January. What do you do?
My priority number one signing in January is probably a centre back. I'll be completely honest.
Do you have a preference?
Look, I want to go in for an Australian centre back. I want to raid the Australian free market while it's still good. You got Harrison Delbridge, who's available. Yep. He's off contract. Alex Grant, who's going to be off contract soon because his Chinese club doesn't want to register him.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
That was proven false, wasn't it?
It was proven false.
Was that proven false?
Because it was injury. That's the only reason.
I would still be saying Alex. I'm not the only one. Fraser as well, Grouse Grant. He's desperate. Desperate for you to come home. I think the entire Perth Glory fan base would love you to come home. Tell Tianjin to piss off and come back here and will us the toilet seat.
Regardless,
Stephen Murchler.
Ironically, I would probably take Murchler if he was.
We did hear some rumours.
Yeah, there was
Tommy Murchler might be coming back.
Look,
that's the rumour.
I want if in January, if we're planning on doing some business, forget young players, promising future youngsters, whatever. Fix the squad. And how you do that, you need temporary options. All right? Not guys that are going to be here for 6 months and then piss off. You need guys that you can get at least a year and a half out of.
Would you take Lazar?
I would take Ashraf Lazar for the pure reason that I think if you got rid of one of our current visa players, if I had to get rid of a visa player right now, it would probably be Aoyama. All right?
Well, he wasn't in the squad.
Oh, okay, never mind. I forgot Aoyama. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But I would take Lazar, all right? Not just because I'm a Palermo fan and I want to see a Palermo player play at the Glory, but I know the guy has quality. My only thing is, and an issue for a lot of fans, is he hasn't played that many games in recent years, and obviously that's a problem, right? So that's why I'm sort of leaning away from it. If I had to make an ideal centre-back signing, it is probably Harrison Delbridge. I'll be completely honest.
Delbridge on a 6 month, and then you go and get Grant.
I wouldn't take Delbridge on 6 months. I would take him on a year and a half. I'd look to offload Barr at the end of the season, replace him with Grant, and have our three centre-backs going into next season, or our three main centre-backs going into next season, be Delbridge, Kanga, and Grant.
Yeah, I don't think Delbridge would even do 6 months. But I think he'd only sign a contract if he gets it long term.
If it was short term, so they can go back to Melbourne.
Look, I'd take 1.5 or 2.5 for Harrison Delbridge, right?
100%.
Because I also feel I want another solid Aussie option there to help, bring through the younger centre-back quality that we have going. Guys like Andriano Labib. Guys like Caleb Majeka-Dumi, if he hopefully sticks around.
I'd still be fine with Barr being a depth option, and then you've got Kanga and let's say Grant or Delbridge.
Look, I'm fine with him being a depth option, but I see no reason as to why Barr should be starting over Majeks other than the pure reason that Barr is older than Majeka-Dumi and
I get that.
Therefore has more experience.
Yeah.
But if you have someone like Delbridge or Grant ahead of him, you have no reason to start Barr. Apart from the fact that, look, maybe you bring him on the 80th minute when we need to close out a game. But even then, you look to the future as your third option. You look at Majeka-Dunmi. You look at Labib. Those kind of guys that you can bring up.
It's a bit of an interesting one with Majeks because we thought he'd be getting a bit more game time this season, but he hasn't. And for the rumours that he's injured, well, that doesn't appear to be true because he was with the under-23 Socceroos squad over in Sydney during the international break playing against Western Sydney Wanderers. So, I mean, look, I wouldn't be opposed to saying, all right, Majeks go in next to Kanga. But I think at the same point, when we're trying to build consistency within the team, I'd probably leave it as untouched as best as it is and then assess in January.
Yeah. Look, ideally, I want to fix the defense as soon as possible.
Yeah.
The next signing I would make after that, I want to go in for a proper 6. All right.
There's some
But
good
that's
ones.
only on the scenario that we acknowledge or Zrilic makes the decision that O'Neill isn't at the level he needs from a deep lying 6, whether that's he's not physically capable, he's not technically capable. And if in that instance he isn't physically or technically capable, you need to look to offload the contract. And as much as I love Brandon O'Neill and think he could...
No, not Shane Larry.
He's cheap.
I think
Wow,
Brandon
signing.
O'Neill is an incredible option,
Yep.
but he's... I need to know what kind of money he's on, right? If he's
I
on
wouldn't
big
be. I
money,
wouldn't be asking about money. I just
look, if he's on big money, you can't keep him as a depth option. You can't keep big money players as depth options.
Brandon's on a from the what Stan said on the radio. He's on a reduced contract. He took a pay cut to come here.
Then I'm happy for him to stay around.
Then he'd have the loyalty thing as well. Having
Exactly.
been in the league for about 10 years or something.
Yeah. Look, I'm happy for O'Neill to stick around, but we need to, in the order of things that we need to fix, it needs to be the center of defense.
Yep.
I'm fine with the fullbacks for now. I'll be completely honest.
Yeah,
I've seen enough from.
Yeah.
Look, I've seen enough from Hamzawi in the last 2
He'll be
games
fine-
to be
he'll
able
be
to
fine
say
for
he's
the
making the
season.
forward
Yeah.
steps. He's going to be fine
I just
for this
think he
season.
needed game time under his
Yeah.
belt because he's played in a couple of years.
Look,
I think he's fine.
I think the center of defense needs to be fixed.
Yep.
Next is the center of the midfield. That goes for the 2 deep lying midfielders.
If you-
Then for me comes the 10. Then comes the wingers.
So you're basically starting from the back and going forward.
Start from the back, move forward.
Though I would say though, given our CEO said that we could get a marquee, I wouldn't mind getting a marquee if we could. In January.
Who would you go for, James? Who would you go for?
I don't know. I need to do some research, bro.
Don't say you need to do research, bro. I know for a fact you've done your fucking research.
Well, there are. Well,
Give us an exclusive
I already,
scoop,
I already,
James.
I already said Fjolic.
Yeah, that's
I already said Fjolic because I think for me, fans are probably going, "Who the fuck is this guy?" It's another
over Cantreva.
It's another Zizou season 10 weird ass signing. Here we go. No,
This is my favorite part of every transfer window, by the way, is when I just, out of nowhere, you don't even tell us that you're writing articles. It's just every now and again, you'll pop out with a random ass
Yeah.
fucking article
Yeah.
that you'll just link in the group chat, be like, oh, here, check this out, boys.
Yeah.
And it'll be like, 10 signings that will transform the Perth Glory. Number 1, Reheri Harry Hamananana from Madagascar's Premier League.
Stan.
That's a real player, by the way.
I'll say-
Shout out Reheri Harry
What are
Hamananana,
you
former
on about?
Madagascan, I'm pretty sure Madagascan international, former
Yeah.
Lille Youth Academy player.
That's a wow signing.
Absolute Wikipedia legend.
There are plenty. No, I'm not taking Delhi.
Deli Alley.
Stick it up your.
Hear me out, bro. Hear me out.
What I do want to sort of end the pod with is
End the pod.
not end the pod, but talk about something that's pretty good. We managed to get in contact with the head of high performance at Glory, Cam Lord, who I do want to give a shout out. Top bloke. Shame you're a Liverpool fan, but that's okay.
Everton.
That's all right. You know, it's okay. City fan. You know.
You've got an Everton fan next to you, and you're going, "Oh, a City fan."
We
Because-
haven't lost Liverpool yet. Sorry.
Wait.
That's this
Hold on.
weekend.
Pep's
There we
losing.
go.
But he actually gave us
Club is in
some.
12th, lad.
He gave us some pretty good
115.
points about the shit that happens behind the scenes. So we're going to reveal to the viewers because it will hopefully give you a bit more of an understanding as to how shit some things have been, but also how good other things have been as well. He mentioned that the Adelaide game was our first delay-free trip.
Lovely.
So that doesn't seem. It's like thanks Qantas or thanks Virgin for being dickheads.
Daniel.
Thanks, Virgin.
They do a lot in the sense of where they adapt their itinerary and ensure the players are still prepared and all that sort of thing. They have lots of contingencies, including tailored nutrition and supplementation to minimise the impact of travel.
Yep.
They always look at all sorts of details like the type of plane, the time of flight, distances from hotels, or airports to hotels and hotels to ground, as well as the timing of return trips to optimise recovery. He emphasised that adaptability extends to individuals. So there was a point that he made about, because I asked him, do you reckon we should be arriving the games earlier? But then there was also the argument of when it comes to players' sleep, the hotel bed is basically not their bed at home. And there's a pretty clear relationship between when you sleep in your own bed versus when you sleep in the hotels.
A random bed, yeah.
So we started shipping the beds over.
Well, that's
why we got a point.
A new WoW signing in the bed.
Whoa.
Right.
I don't know about that one,
right,
James. Hold on a second. No, hold on. Whoa, hey.
No, but he mentioned that it can't be replicated while they're away, so they have to think about when they arrive to their cities and all that sort of thing.
Okay.
They prepare basically as soon as they land, where they've got activation sessions and the whole process to prep for the game. Basically, as soon as they get to the hotel.
Okay.
And when it comes to match day, the schedule is dictated by kickoff time. So the club take an approach where they work back from kickoff in relation to the timings of match day, pre-match meals, meetings, activation, etc. I asked him, why do you think we haven't been good away from home since COVID? Because I think since COVID, if you had a look at the numbers, I would take a guess and say we probably only won 6 or 7 away games out of like 30 or 40, maybe even 50. And he said that probably what Popper and Kenny did during those successful times away from home, that they're not probably doing stuff that's too different to what they're doing now.
Yeah.
One thing he did mention is that there's a lot of players that are unfamiliar with that type of travel. So the fact that we've made such a lot of signings, it's actually a really good point, because it's like, if they've never done that sort of travel, how can we expect them to then play at 110% every single game?
That's fair.
And it's not necessarily like an excuse for saying, oh yeah, just because of that you guys can play shit. No, it's like it's a valid, real fact.
In all fairness, Perth Glory is probably one of the only football clubs in the world where you can look at and say, oh, an away game is a fucking 5-hour flight.
Yeah, not like a bus. Because you mentioned like New South Wales team barely travel outside of the state.
But like even with the English Premier League, it's a bus drive. Worst case scenario, it's a 1.5-2 hour flight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They do European away days. They can go halfway across Europe at the same time it takes us to fly into Melbourne.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and we're doing that every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Sometimes back-to-back weeks. Sometimes doing it midweek.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And that's the thing. Like, imagine trying to learn David's system, which is super intense, and then you got a delayed flight.
Yeah.
So that reduces the time that you spend, and it's harder to get your circadian rhythms and all that sort of thing adjusted by the time you land to where you're playing. It's a tough gig, and credit to the high performance team and credit to Cam, who enjoys the pod, and mentioned that there are quite a few staff members that do listen to the pod, which is good to see. And I think if Cam is all right, we wouldn't mind having him on the pod at some point to explain more about the stuff that happens behind the scenes in terms of preparing the players and all that. So
be great.
I thought that was a really good insight.
Yeah. Shout out, man.
We may as well turn our attention to Melbourne Victory.
Yep.
I'm not looking forward to it. As much as we're being positive this podcast, I'm not looking forward to it.
Why do I have just the weirdest feeling that, look, I know this is not going to happen and this is going to get clipped.
Do you smell a 1-0?
We get one draw, bruh.
I'm gonna look.
Come on.
No.
He's gonna do a Lazaridis. We're gonna win.
No. This is gonna get thrown back into my face so hard, right? Why do I feel like we're genuinely about to scrape our first win against the Victory?
Because
You know
it would
what I
be
mean?
typical Glory.
Because
It
we've
would be
done that.
typical.
Because if you look back through the history of us, we have done that quite a few times.
It would be so Perth Glory, bro. It would be. Do Brisbane play before us as well?
Oh,
I think Brisbane.
Look,
here's my thing, right?
Yeah.
If Brisbane play before us, let me double check this, or James is double checking.
I'm getting it. They do.
I'm calling this. I'm gonna say that Brisbane get a point against City to jump us on goal difference.
Yep.
Big hoo-ha, hooray, we're bottom of the league, and then we go beat Victory 1-0. That is my prediction. That is my weekly prediction. I'm gonna say it's a 1-0 win.
Yeah.
1-0 win for the Glory, and it will be some dumb shit like a fucking
Deflection off.
It would be
Miranda's ass.
no, it would be a Hamill own goal. It will be a Hamill own goal.
And then like the 80th minute.
Oh,
But on a serious.
I need it. Oh God.
But on a serious point, how should we approach trying to beat Victory? How can we beat them?
Be disciplined.
Just
Look,
jump everywhere.
we're not expecting
Major tactics and shit.
It sucks to say, but I don't think many Glory fans are expecting the Glory to come away for a win. So just play your fucking game, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, go out there, just play your game. If you want to sit back and be a bit more defensive,
Play
at
like
least just
Brazil.
have the balls to hit on the counter. That's all I can ask. I just don't want to see my team sit back for the whole 90 and just accept that they're going to be defeated.
Yeah.
I'm expecting it, but it doesn't mean I want to see it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Fair.
What do you think, Will?
I think, look, I the moment you brought that up, the 1-0 win, I got flashbacks to, who was it? Was it Chris Harold? That 3-2 win, the Victory all those years ago.
God.
And then...
Not 2-1 at Geelong? Which
Was
3-2? Which 3?
No,
Was it at home or when was
It was away against the Victory, and we scored like the 92nd minute. Chris Harold years ago.
No, you thinking of Economides?
No, it was Harold. It was a long time ago. He ran away and he did this. He did the.
No, that's Risdon.
Oh, was it Rizzo? Sorry,
Yeah.
Rizzo.
That was Risdon.
Yeah,
Tell
I
us
was
the
going to say, bro.
Yeah, Alex Edwards, Rizzo.
Left
Yeah.
foot, bang.
And then a few seasons ago under Richie went to Victory, and we
Oh yeah,
that game, unexpected, and we were playing so poor,
poured it out of nowhere.
and out of nowhere we beat Victory.
It was Bert
Yeah.
Gilroy and Fornaroli
Convincingly
and
too.
Kieran
It wasn't even
Bramwell.
like close. That's what I'm saying. Like
3-0.
yeah, 3-0. So I'm saying we have a
Kieran
history.
Bramwell, what a fucking throwback, bro. Remember Bryce Bafford? Jesus Lord.
Yes. Well, that's the thing, eh? Wouldn't it be great to see 3-0 Perth Glory? You got Quiet and Go, Trent Ostler, and
Quiet and Go.
Adam Taggart.
Quiet and Go, Trent Ostler, and then I don't even Jared Carluccio thunder bastard off the bench.
I will love it.
I
I
think
think I deserve.
I,
I really do.
I will harm myself.
I really do.
I'm gonna be realistic. I'm gonna say we lose 3-1, but
Fuck
But we
you.
scored.
but
We scored.
yeah,
we scored a
but we
goal.
don't look bad. It's like a 3-1, but it's just because they're the better team, not
Look,
because we played poor.
obviously losing will frustrate us anytime it happens. But if we lose and put up a good performance, and I don't feel absolutely ashamed to
Yep.
show my face on Twitter for the next week after the game,
There'll be
then
two
I can live with
two types of reactions. That if we win, it'll be ha ha ha, Victory is shit, and if we lose, it'll be check the books, Victory definitely cheating the cap.
Yep.
No, if we win, it'll be ha ha ha, Victory is shit. Ha ha ha, Victory is shit.
We scored
And then
a
if we-
goal.
and then-
We won a game.
And then if we lose,
Yeah.
Facebook's going to be a cesspool, bro. Oh my god, it always is.
Keyboard warriors.
But holy shit! If I have to see any more people on fucking Facebook being like, "Oh, Zrilich is an awful coach. What is he doing with this?"
Go back to Thursday.
If you give me 2 big chances created, I'll be happy.
Oh my god, we're going full Statsville.
Go, James.
No, I think we'll draw. I think we'll draw.
Oh, really?
I think we'll draw.
Okay.
I think we'll find a way to stay in the game. And again, I know I mentioned it before, but play like Brazil. Play like the Brazil women's team where they were just complete and utter see you next Tuesdays. And get Zrilla, be a dick to the referee, be a dick to the fourth official, including all the Glory bench. Get the Victory players hating us and then walk out of there with a good result and quickly get on the plane back home.
And take Bruno with us for free.
Well, may as well. But
I was going to say take Chris, but he's in MacArthur now.
I'd rather
take Arzani.
I would. Could you imagine if Bruno comes up to us like all smart if we beat them and Bruno's just laughing his head off with the
He'd be
Glory
laughing.
fans?
Custody of Bruno Fornaroli ladder match. I need it, bro.
What kind of draw though? 1-0, 0-0? You just saying?
Low scorer, bro.
I'd say 1-1 if it's going to be a
I
draw.
want to say 3-3
Jesus.
What?
Christ, James.
because we can't defend.
Oh, we scored 2 goals. We scored 2 goals, and now you think we're scoring 3 next.
Against one of the worst
we're not
defenses in the
Brisbane.
league.
Did we
We're not
think
Brisbane.
we were going to get 2 against Adelaide? Did we even think we were going to get a result?
Victory know how to
Can I
defend.
just say, I honestly thought that we would get
Yeah,
1 or 2.
but if
against
we,
Adelaide.
but if
I didn't think we'd go
I could've- yeah,
goalless.
but that's the thing, right? Just Victory won't expect it. We'll hit them on the counter. They're going to do the same. Didn't Wellington copy Italiano's game
I
model
was
as
going
well?
to say let's just do a Wellington, guys. Come on.
Because Wellington, they frustrated the fuck out of Victory. And then you had bloody Kisnorbo at full time going, oh, it felt like an under-10s game with all the, the hit and all that sort of shit. Oh, I was disappointed that we didn't get the win. We dominated, blah, 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 tough guy, big muscles. But
He's got some really nice.
I know, but Italiano, that's a good tactical performance, and they got the win. So
Yeah,
that's the incentive for us. So
That's good shit.
Anyway,
are there any other?
Congratulations on Adam Taggart for being named the A-League Times A-League Player of the Week, mate. Massive achievement.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm wearing my Taggart jersey.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
Absolutely.
Just,
You want to give us a nice little spin?
I'm not a model, bro.
can we do I think we kind of skipped it. Do you want to just give a quick 30-second
No.
shush
No.
recap of the second half? We didn't even touch on the second half. Taggart's second goal, and we didn't talk about
He's
that.
a superstar.
Okay, yeah, good finish.
But that's the thing. He's a superstar. He's a superstar striker, and credit to Caicedo for making the run and Risman
Yep.
for picking it out, and
Yep.
then Pennington, an absolute screamer for pass in, and then fucking Taggart jumping out like a salmon.
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
In other news-
feed him chances, he will score.
In other news, Adam Taggart's fantastic. Come on the pod, mate.
Shock
We'll love
horror.
it.
Yeah.
Was that
Bring your door as well.
real quick, was that a pen for you? Right at the
The handball?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, pen, Alex? For me, with how the other calls I've seen, yes. With all the other calls I've seen, yes. It shouldn't be, but with all the other calls, yes.
It should have been a pen because the counter argument of he didn't have time to react, his arm was still away from the ball.
Yeah, but also we've seen those given so many times. Like consistently, that should be a pen. I'm glad it wasn't, but we escaped big time.
Bro, the fact that we got away with a pen and 2 offside goals as well. Oh my god.
I would have said.
But we're going to be victory, right, Alex?
Oh yeah. Anyways,
Uncle Ross, go to the game. Invest in the team.
Yeah.
Mr. Lazaridis, don't hype up anything in January
Stay off the radio.
Unless you have,
Shut up.
Unless you have got a serious wow signing. Bro, please don't go on the radio.
Pick up like some stupid fucking deal. It's gonna be like Jonathan Vieira in a 3-year deal.
No. He's gonna say. Lazar will say we've signed this random ass player, but
no.
Be a market.
No. It'll be Stan will take it one step further, right? And I hope he does this if we do sign a cracking player. We'll sign like Dele Alli on a free, on like a 2-3 year deal, and he'll be like, yeah, we signed a good little player. I mean, he's got some experience in Europe. I mean, yeah.
Guys, Dele Alli. Like the WWE music.
got Dele Alli.
Oh no, you got WWE like, bah, God, it's Dele Alli's music.
Right. Anyways, we'll leave it there.
Any thoughts? Drop them in the comments or in the live chat because we saw it go off when we had our last episode.
Yeah, we're not actually live.
We're not
when
live.
That goes on.
And if your name is Ross Peligra or you run any social media accounts under the name Ross Peligra and your name is not Daniel Gregory in real life, make sure you email us, the Shed End Podcast.
Ross, we would love to have a chat. Stan, we would love to have a chat. David, we'd love to have a chat. Anyone, we'd love to have a chat.
Our Gmail is still the Shed End Podcast.
Or you got our details in the club. We're always happy to have a chat.
Yeah. We know you have them. We are more than willing to have a conversation.
Absolutely. Anyways, we'll leave it there for episode 15. Thank you all so much as well for the support that we've recently gotten on the podcast. It's been absolutely brilliant.
Leave your thoughts in the comments or in the chat and whatever.
Heading towards 1,000. You know, one of these days we're going to have more subscribers on our podcast than there will be attendees at a Perth Glory game. And that's going to be crazy. But until that day,
one day,
keep tuning in to the Glory Days podcast. Thank you all so much. And we'll catch you after the Melbourne Victory game.
Hopefully where we get a good
best
result.
Best of luck to our boys out there. We're cheering yous on and we'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
All right.